guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So we are going to talk about the book The Journey to Atlantis, written by D.S. Chilton. So basically D.S. Chilton is a fictional character, and she is a novelist at the Mouseford Academy in the New Mouse City, and she wrote this time a book named The Journey to Atlantis. So we are going to talk about what is written in this book. So without wasting our time any further, let's get straight in the वीडियो. सो जो भी आप स्क्रीन पर फर्स्ट देख पा रहे हैं वो है बुक का कवर. तो बुक का कवर ऐसे है. सबसे ऊपर बुक की राइटर D.S. Chilton इनका नाम है. उसके बाद बुक का नाम द जर्नी टू एटलांटिस, और फिर नीचे जो 5 माउसलेट्स खड़ी हैं ये है इस बुक की, मतलब इस बुक की मेन कैरेक्टर्स. तो इनमें से जो इसमें से जो येलो वाली है उसके हाथ में जो आप एक पीस देख पा रहे हैं शीशे का, उसमें जिसकी फ़ोटो है. तो ये जो बुक है ये इसके अराउंड ही घूमती है. तो हम जानेंगे कि ये लड़का कौन है, कहाँ से आया है और इसके बारे में. तो गाइस ये जो हम अभी बात करने जा रहे हैं इस बुक के बारे में, तो ये मैं आपको पूरी नहीं बताऊंगा, मैं आपको सिर्फ इसका एक फ्री सैम्पल दूंगा. और अगर आपको बुक अच्छी लगे तो फिर आप जाके इसे ख़रीद भी सकते हैं. और अगर आपको वीडियो पसंद आए तो प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करिएगा, वीडियो को लाइक करिएगा और अपने दोस्त का शेयर भी करिएगा. तो मैं जैसे मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ कि बुक का कवर है, तो अब आगे देखते हैं. तो जब हम आगे बढ़ते हैं तो हमें आगे देखने के लिए मिलता है इसका फर्स्ट पेज, जिस पे इस बुक का नाम लिखा है और 2 लोग खड़े हैं यहाँ पे. एक वही माउसलेट जिसे मैंने आपको फर्स्ट पेज पे दिखाया, और एक वो लड़का जो इसके मेडालियन में था. तो अब आगे देखते हैं. तो बुक का इंटरफेस है और उसके बाद यहाँ पे आपको इनके बारे में पढ़ने को मिलता है. तो देखते हैं. D.S. Chilton हमसे यहाँ पे कहती हैं, हाई आई एम D.S. Chilton, Geronimo Chilton's sister. I am a special correspondent for the Rodents Gazette, the most famous newspaper on Mouse Island. I also teach adventure journalism at Mouseford Academy. The story I am about to tell you features the Dear sisters, 5 really special students. They love adventure as much as I do. Let's meet them. Colette. She loves the color pink and wants to be a fashion writer. She is very particular about her appearance, which means she's always late. Violet. She is real intellectual, just like my brother Geronimo. She likes to unwind by listening to classical music and she wants to become a great violinist. Pamela. Give her a screwdriver and she can solve any mechanical problem. She loves pizza and would eat it for breakfast if she could. Paulina. This computer genius wants to be a scientist. She also loves traveling and meeting people from all over the world. Nikki. She's always in a good mood as long as she's outdoors in open spaces and nature. If she gets stuck in small tight spaces, she gets claustrophobic. So यहाँ में हमने जान लिया इन सब के जो बुक में कैरेक्टर्स हैं उनके बारे में. तो अब आगे चलते हैं. तो यहाँ पे इन्होंने दे रखा है द सिटी ऑफ एटलांटिस. तो सबसे पहले हम यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं द रॉयल पैलेस, जिसके बारे में इन्होंने यहाँ पे दे रखा है. उसके बाद द पैलेस ऑफ 10 किंग्स, जो कि कुछ इस तरह का दिखता है. यहाँ पे पीछे फ़ोटो, हम आगे बुक में भी इसके बारे में जानेंगे. द रॉयल लाइब्रेरी, उसकी भी पिक्चर हमें यहाँ पे दे रखी है. द कोरल हिल्स, द नॉटिकल गार्डन, द ओशियन डोर. तो अभी हम इस सब चीज़ों के बारे में आगे जानेंगे. फिर नीचे देखते हैं इन्होंने यहाँ पे क्या दे रखा है. ड्यूरिंग दिस एडवेंचर्स यू एंड द डियर सिस्टर्स विल फाइंड क्लूज दैट विल लीड यू टू द फैंटास्टिक किंगडम ऑफ एटलांटिस. द नेम्स ऑफ दिस मिस्टीरियस प्लेसेस देयर आर हिडन इन सम ऑफ इलस्ट्रेशंस. टू रीड दैम यू विल नीड टू होल्ड पेज अप टू अ मिरर. तो फाइनली हमारी बुक यहाँ शुरू होती है. फर्स्ट चैप्टर, वेकेशन टाइम. Nice to meet you. My name is D.S. Chilton. I am a busy rodent these days between writing articles for the Rodents Gazette and teaching at Mouseford Academy. After a busy semester of teaching, I set off early for an ocean voyage. I love to travel the world. Little did I know that while I was away, my dear friends, the dear sisters, would stumble upon an amazing adventure. I am sure you know all about the dear sisters: Colette, Nikki, Pamela, Paulina, and Violet. Were you in my class at Mouseford Academy and are the 5 brightest young rodents I know. When I returned from my trip, they called me for help and I was happy to be part of such an incredible experience with them. Then I wrote down what happened to share with you, my loyal readers. The Dear Sisters tale begins at start of the semester break. As much as they love their studies, they were all eager to go on vacations and have some fun. The mouselets were making last-minute preparations, hurrying to pack their backpacks and suitcases. But Paulina was sitting peacefully on her bed, watching the others. "Don't worry about me," she assured her friends. "I'll be fine." Nikki shook her head. "I don't understand. How can prefer the halls of Mouseford to a nice vacation in the open air?" Nikki was returning home to Australia for a visit to wide open outback. Quiet Violet spoke up. "I would invite you to come to my music composition class, but I think you'd find it boring." Paulina responded with a smile. "I'll be fine here relaxing. Plus, Professor Sparkle asked me to cross-check the dates of his researches on ancient civilizations." "That seems like a lot of work," said blonde Colette. She was trying to close her overstuffed pink suitcase. "But nobody knows ancient civilization better than you, Polly. You are definitely the best mouse for the job." Paulina couldn't help smiling at Colette's battle with her suitcase. "Are you sure you need so many evening dresses for the beaches of the Caribbean?" she asked. "Don't joke," Colette replied seriously. "I already had to leave out 3 of my fur conditioners. Let's go!" Pam, the fifth dear sister, burst into the room like a tornado. She knocked over all the suitcases and bags stacked by the door. Paulina jumped to help pick up the bags. "It's late," Pam exclaimed. "Let's get moving or we'll miss our hydroplane out of here." "I can't lose my bag," Colette wailed. "Leave it to me, Coco," Pam said. Then the sporty rodent leaped across the room and landed on Colette's back. Click! "Come on, everyone," Pam cried. "Our vacations await!" And here's the picture of this chapter. Let's go. Pam entering the room, Colette battling with the suitcase, Nikki and Violet staring Pam, and Paulina sitting on the bed. So here's begin the next chapter, Mystery on the Shore. Paulina watched her friends drive off until they disappeared over the horizon. "Time to work," she said, heading out of her room. "My research awaits." As Paulina walked down the deserted corridors of the academy to the library, she couldn't believe how quiet it was. The other students and professors had already left. Even the academy director, Professor Octavius de Moses, had traveled to the other side of the island to give a speech. In the large library, the afternoon sunlight shone through the windows and the peaceful silence filled the space. Paulina took a seat at one of the computer stations and began to work. She was so absorbed in her task that when she finally looked up from her screen, she saw stars shimmering in the sky. Paulina shut down her computer and stretched. "What I need is a light dinner and a good night's sleep," she said happily. She returned to her room and enjoyed some cream of cheese soup. Before she fell asleep, she set her alarm clock so she could get an early start on her research the next morning. Boom! Paulina woke up from her sound sleep with a start. It was still dark outside and pouring rain pounded at the windows. A flash of lightning lit up the room, followed by another rumble of thunder that seemed to shake the walls. "What a terrible storm!" Paulina whispered, pulling her covers up her chin. It was a little scary to be alone in the room without her friends by her side. The storm seemed to rage for hours as the rain fell like buckets of cheese sauce and the thunder boomed. It wasn't easy, but Paulina finally fell into a light and restless sleep. When her alarm clock rang shortly after sunrise, Paulina groaned as she shut it off. She was exhausted, but at least the storm was over. She opened her window and the fresh air perked her right up. "A jog on the beach is just what I need," she told herself, and she put on some exercise clothes. Then she went to the kitchen to grab some food before her run. Midway, the academy's cook had a glass of fresh orange juice ready for her. "Did you hear that storm last night?" Midge asked. "It's been years since we have had a storm like that." Paulina chatted with Midge as she downed her breakfast, then jogged to the beach. She gasped as the ocean came into view. Instead of its usual sky blue color, the water was an intense deep blue streak with green. The sky was a misty gray color, and the sand, still damp, was tuned with branches and seaweed. She broke into a run and her steps sank into the wet sand. The morning sunlight sparkled on the waves and seagulls flew overhead. The view was so beautiful that Paulina slowed down to enjoy it. That's when she spotted a large object against the dark sand just up ahead. It almost looked like some kind of plant, except it was blue. It is an animal, she wondered, but what kind? Maybe a large fish? As Polina got closer, she realized that the object definitely wasn't a plant. She quickened her pace as a sense of alarm swept through her body. Her heart beat faster as the silhouette of the object became clear. This was no fish either. So this is an image of Paulina running on the beach, and this is a man lying on the floor. So actually I told you one thing, in the actual book these two images are combined to form a very big page, but also on the different pages. But here, because I'm not on the real book reading this, and I'm on a phone, so here it seems like this. So I hope you all are fine with it. So let's continue. Another chapter. A stranger from the sea. Paulina was so shocked that she couldn't move. A strange boy with blue skin. Skin was lying in the sand with his eyes closed. He had long blue hair and he wore a yellow tunic that looked like it was speckled with real gold. The boy reminded Paulina of one of the characters in the fairy tale that she had read to her little sister. Cautiously, Paulina approached him. He wasn't moving at all, even though the waves were lapping at his legs. He had a tranquil expression on his face as though he were sleeping. "Excuse me, are you all right?" Paulina asked, but the boy didn't answer her. She began to fear that something was really wrong. She knelt down and placed her paw on his tunic beneath the fabric. She could feel a beating heart. She sighed with relief and tried to wake him again. The boy didn't open his eyes. He seemed to have fainted. Paulina got up and scanned the area for a board or raft that might have brought him there, but she couldn't spot anything, not even wreckage. She gazed at the boy again, transfixed. Where had he come from? She wondered. His blue skin seemed to glow, and when she touched the fabric of his tunic, it was impossibly soft, and his face looked so kind. She quickly snapped out of how thoughts. Whoever this boy was, he needed help. She couldn't waste another second. Poina ran into as fast as she could. As she crossed the bridge, she almost bumped into Alice Squid, her classmate who lived in Whale Island. Below this, you can see the picture of Paulina and Ellie Squid and the bridge where Paulina was running on. "Are you trying to break some kind of speed record?" Ellie teased. "Oh, Ellie, you must help me," Paulina panted as she caught her breath. "I went running on the beach and I found a boy." "You met a boy?" her friend asked, confused. "No," Paulina cried. "I didn't meet him. I found him." Poor Ellie was perplexed. "He is a castaway," Paulina explained. Ellie's eyes grew wide. "A castaway? How is he? Where did he come from? What did he say to you?" "He didn't say anything," Paulina replied. "He is passed out." "I know just the rodent who can help us," Ellie said. Then she yelled, "Leopold!" Leopold Whale, an accomplished sailor and fisher mouse, popped his snout off his house window. "Hi, Ellie, what's up?" he asked. Paulina and Ellie quickly filled him in, and three of them raced to the beach. The boy with blue skin was exactly where Paulina had found him, and he still looked fast asleep. Leopold and Ellie were amazed. "His skin really seems to glow," whispered Ellie, enchanted. "He looks almost magical somehow." Leopold mused, "But we can't just stand here and stare at him. Let's get him to a doctor." So previous chapter ends and another chapter begins. So many mysteries. Leopold and Paulina carried the strange boy to Mousefoot Academy and gently placed him on a bed. In one of the empty rooms, Ellie ran to fetch the school doctor. He quietly examined the patient. "He is simply sleeping very deeply," the doctor announced in a few minutes later. "You just need to keep him warm and wait for him to wake up." "Who is he?" "We don't know," Paulina replied. "He doesn't even have a wallet," Leopold added, "or a phone." All four rodents were quiet for a moment. Then the doctor felt the edge of the golden tunic. And here's the picture. Before the plant, you can see the doctor. He is that strange boy. He is Alice Squid, Leopold, and the main character of our story. One of the most important character in this book, Paulina. And she's one of the dear sisters, as we have read before. So without any wasting our time further, let's just I have only encountered fabric like this in a museum, he said thoughtfully, but it's so unusual there's no mistaking it. This tunic is made of sea silk. What is that? Pauline asked. It's a very rare fabric made from the fibers from a kind of mollusk, the doctor explained. You mean from a creature with a shell like a clam or a mussel? Asked Leopold the fisher mouse. Exactly, the doctor cried. These fibers are even finer than silk and the fabric is light yet warm. It is quite precious. So this must be this must be someone very important, Leopold guessed. The doctor nodded. Perhaps, he said. It's strange, the sea silk hasn't been produced anywhere for many years. How odd, Ellie said. Well, there's nothing more I can do now, the doctor said. Watch over him and contact me if anything changes. He and Leopold left, but Paulina and Ellie stayed behind with the sleeping stranger. They were quiet for a moment. What an unusual necklace he has, Ellie remarked. Paulina leaned over to look. Strung around the boy's neck was a blue stone set in a circle of red metal. The back of the stone was embossed with an unusual circular design. Curious, Paulina reached out to touch the medallion, and at the same moment, the boy's eyelids fluttered. He began to speak in a soft whisper, but the words were in a language she had never heard before. Then his eyes closed again and he fell back to sleep. What did he say? Ellie asked. Paulina shook her head. I didn't understand him, did you? It sounded more like music than words, Ellie remarked. Paulina was more puzzled than ever. This is too much for just us to handle, she said. We need the help of the Dia sisters. So maybe we are going to meet our heroes, the Dia sisters, again in the story. So let's keep moving. Another chapter. Friends to the rescue. Hello, Polly, can you hear me? Colette, is that you? Yes, but I'm about to board a plane for the Caribbean, Colette replied. I spent an hour at the baggage checkpoint. They tried to stop me from bringing my bottles of conditioning cream. Don't they know the importance of well-maintained fur? At the other end of the phone, Paulina smiled, but there was no time to chat about fur styling. Coco, I'm sorry, but there's an emergency here, she said. She quickly explained the situation to her friend. It's very mysterious, Paulina said. He woke up and uttered some incomprehensible words, but then he went back to sleep. Well, of course, he's tired. He's just got shipwrecked, Colette replied. Paulina sighed. He doesn't have any identification on him except for a strange jewel around his neck. I really don't know what to do. Colette looked at the boarding pass in her pause. Her plane was going to take off in 10 minutes. She closed her eyes and imagined the white beaches and clear waters of the Caribbean, but Paulina sounded so worried that she knew what she had to do. All right, she agreed. I can be back at Mousefort tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Colette. Paulina cried with relief. Have you told the others yet? Colette asked. No, Paulina replied. I was about to call Violet. Then I'll call Pam and Nikki. Colette said, I'll see you at the academy. Once we are all together, we can figure this out. By the next day, all of the dear sisters were back on Whale Island. Thank you so much for giving up your vacations, Paulina said gratefully as she led her friends down the hallway. Someone is in trouble and there's a mystery to solve. We couldn't say no, Nikki said firmly. Colette nodded. That's right. And besides, but she stopped mid-sentence as Paulina opened the door to the boys' room. The other their sisters gasped as they saw the boy with the blue skin for the first time. The sleeping boy looked as though he had been carved from ice. His face was perfectly still with a peaceful expression. The only sign of life was the slow movement of his chest, which rose up and fell down in a steady rhythm. I am worried, Paulina said. The doctor said he is a bit weaker than yesterday. Pam moved in to get a closer look. Weaker? Yes, his heartbeat had slowed and his skin is less bright. Paulina explained. Bright? What do you mean? Pam asked. Paulina started to explain about the glow the boy had when she first found him to the beach. While she talked, Nikki leaned too closer to touch his medallion. How beautiful, she whispered. Suddenly the boy began to stir and his eyes opened slowly. Nikki jumped in shock. The room was quiet as everyone watched to see what the boy would do next. The stranger began to talk in a strange musical language. Confusion filled his eyes when he saw the dear sisters around him. He tried to sit up, but he was too weak. He collapsed into pillows and closed his eyes again. Oh no, not again. You need to stay awake, Pam said, slightly shaking his shoulders. Paulina was scared. Pam, what are you doing? She cried, but she relaxed when the boy opened his eyes again. That's more like it, Pam exclaimed. She helped him sit up in the bed, and the other their sisters began to talk at once. below here is the picture of the dear sisters and the stranger boy. So guys, this is the end of the sample of this book, The Journey to Atlantis by D.S. Stapleton. If you like this book really, so you can go and buy it. It will cost you, if you are in India, 500 Indian rupees. So if you really like it, go and purchase it. And if you like this video, go subscribe my channel, like this video and share it with your friends, family, neighbors and everyone you can share it with. So I'll see you in the next video, and till then, goodbye and take care guys.